wash down these sour beans with a can of Kinza, proudly Saudi and local. إذا بتدوروا على sponsor, is if you want to sponsor a show, Kinza.
We need that
No better show.
cashola.
No better show than the anti-shuffle. All right, here we go. Once again, run the sun. Hello, and welcome back to the Anti-Shuffle podcast. After a long hiatus, we are back. Stronger
Feels
and
good
better
to
than
be
ever.
back. It feels good.
It does
to be
feel
back.
good. It actually feels good to be back. Yeah, Mansour and I would talk behind the scene, and we'd always say like, it's been a couple of months, بس دائما كنا نتكلم مع بعض ويا الله Abdullah, Mansour, we have to start the podcast again. Well, I used to enjoy listening to music. I used to enjoy sharing the list and listening to music, listening to your shitty music, and then I have to listen to your shitty music. But at the end of the day, it was a lot of fun. We ended up discovering music together, and we ended up, having a lot of fun doing this podcast. So I'm really happy that we're back.
Yeah, because it's like honestly, me and Mozej, we have nothing else to do. We don't have any jobs. We don't have families. We have nothing. This is the only thing we have in life.
This is the only thing that's keeping us going. My name is Abdullah, also known as Mozej, a local artist and producer, and a podcast host. So it's okay, Mansour. You're still getting the flow of it. I know you keep.
We're rusty. Sorry, we're rusty.
We're a little bit rusty, but we're gonna get there. My lovely co-host here, Mansour.
Nice to see you guys. It's Mansour, co-host of this awesome podcast with millions of listeners.
With 5 listeners.
It's good to be back, honestly, guys. I mean, we really miss doing the show. We miss hearing your feedback and all that. So we're gonna continue doing it now, and but I think we're gonna have a more of a loose structure than we did previously. But we're more or less gonna cover the same thing, news, reviews, topics, etc. Maybe interviews in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. First episode back. We're gonna see how it goes and try to do our best here. Anyways, let's jump into the news. الكليبس هذه كانت دائما صوتها عالي للدرجه هذه ولا انا بتخيل؟
لا دائما. I mean, I always have to reduce the volume.
Okay, لازم نسوي adjustment للvolume. But anyways, all right. So news. Okay, here we go. So we don't have much news to talk about, honestly. We're gonna keep it short and sweet because we want to talk about music, and then we have like a nice topic, like Mansour mentioned. But and basically, the most prominent thing that happened in the past couple of weeks is that one of our local boys, Wasted Land, who did the Battle of the Bands, في جدة, في مكان. The venue is called Makan, by the way. And they competed against Kaiser, وفي فرقة تانية اسمها جحيم كان, and they won the Battle of the Bands, and they got the chance to perform at Wacken, at Wacken Metal Fest.
Mm-hmm.
When did this performance take place? Let's look at this.
I think it was last month, right? Very recently.
Yeah, it happened very recently. Yeah, it happened a few weeks ago. The boys went there and they performed in front of an international audience. It seemed like they had a good time. It was a great opportunity for them. بس هو هل هو competition؟ أنا ما فهمت I thought إن هم the idea is that they win the Battle of the Bands here. وبعدين خلاص they get to play in front of Wacken. But it's Ayman here is saying they didn't win, but it was just amazing to get to perform there. So, and I tried to go on the Battle of the Bands website, and it just says, win cash prizes and merchandise. فما أدري ما فهمت إيش what were they competing for at Wacken?
Okay,
Wacken.
so Vakken has okay. So for those who are not aware of what Vakken is, it's one of the most prominent metal festivals that take place every year at Wacken in Germany, and they have this thing where they have like the battle of the bands, and they pick, if I'm not mistaken, bands from different parts of the world to perform, local like underground bands, metal bands, of course, and they came to this region, and it, to have the battle of the bands in Jeddah. Previously, I think it was held in Egypt last year,
Yeah.
and maybe Qatar, if I'm not mistaken. But this year it was held in Jeddah in around March, if I'm not mistaken, March. Many bands played, as Mosaj said. One of them was Wolfram, the band I played for,
Oh,
and
Wolfram
we
played as well. Sorry, I didn't mention.
no problem. It was other bands, many other bands as well, and yeah, we competed for this spot, and Wasted Land won, and they really deserved to win because they really crushed it that night. You were there, Muzaj, and you saw the all the performances, so
Yeah.
yeah, huge congratulations to them. I mean, thanks for carrying the flag, the Saudi metal flag at
Yeah.
Germany.
It's worth
I didn't see
mentioning.
the performance, but I would love to see it. I think it's online.
Yeah, honestly, and I saw the live feed, and it was on my phone or something like that. I didn't really, I wasn't able to continue watching the full thing.
Yeah,
But yeah, maybe we should try to dig up the live performance and see if there's a good high quality version of it somewhere online, and so we can watch it.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
this is a big deal. I mean, look. I mean, if you guys are watching this podcast, you can see behind, on the photo that's displayed, like the crowd behind the band. So it's a great exposure for any band that performs there.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean,
no, it's a great
congrats.
opportunity, and then, yeah, congratulations to them, of course. But it's also worth mentioning that they are. We have had a couple of bands as well. Like I know that Creative Waste as well had some international performances as well. They performed internationally multiple times, so it's
Yeah,
great to see that uh, bands from Saudi are also getting the opportunity to perform internationally in these whatever smaller, bigger festivals. Like underground niche festivals, whatever it is. But it's really good. And yeah, like you mentioned, congrats to them. That's it in terms of news. Let's jump into music and stuff. All right, Mansour, tell me what you've been listening to for the past couple of weeks or this week.
all right. So I have. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. We have. I have like three selections. First song it's actually a song. It's the new single from Jerry Cantrell, singer and guitarist of Alice in Chains. Jerry Cantrell also has his own solo career. I think he's released like three albums so far, and he's apparently going to release a new one pretty soon. It's called "I Want Blood," and the latest song is called "Vilified." And yeah, I mean it's a good song, but it sounds very much like Alice in Chains. I mean, if I didn't know any better and somebody told me, look, this is a new Alice in Chains song, I would have been like, okay, cool. Uh, it's not wow, but it's a nice listen. It's more on the heavier side of Alice in Chains. The very nice chunky heavy riff.
Yeah,
I mean, even at some point, I thought it was. I heard like the singer for Alice in Chains on it, like William Duvall. But it's worth checking out if you're a Jerry Cantrell fan and an Alice in Chains fan. And I'm looking forward to the album, which, by the way, Muzaj has a guest appearance from Greg Puciato from Dillinger. How do you
yeah.
pronounce his name?
I don't know,
Dillinger
Greg
Escape Plan.
Pecchiato, or something like that. But
Puciato.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know how to spell his last name. But I think
So
they have a pretty
yeah,
close relationship because they even go on tour together. I mean, Greg also has his solo project, and
oh
they've
yeah,
been
I didn't
touring.
know that.
Like, yeah, last year, 2 years ago, they were touring together. They They go on tours together and stuff like that. So I'm guessing they have a close relationship, and that's one of the reasons why they ended up collaborating, I guess.
Nice, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's one of the things I've been listening to. The
What
other
else?
album I've been listening to the album from the Fu Manchu album. Remember Tomorrow? It's the latest album from Fu Manchu, who's like kind of a desert rock band, you can call them.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a really cool album. I really love this album. They have this kind of laid back vibe, although the riffs are very heavy, very catchy, but very enjoyable to listen to. Lyrically, they're more on the kind of California attitude, laid back style. They sing about things like skateboarding, surfing, and like fast cars and things like that. Um, and that's like a recurring theme in their music. So it's a nice listen if you love bands like Caius and Monster Magnet, those kind of bands. You will enjoy it.
That's exactly the vibe that I got, Caius. Like I was listening to that, I was like, yeah, this is like this is from the same like a page from that same book, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it does have it's a kind of a longish record. It has some fillers here and there, but overall, it's one of the better albums I heard this year.
Okay. What else have you been
And
listening to?
last album I heard is another desert rock band called Orange Goblin. It's called Science, Not Fiction.
That's a fun album.
Uh, it's a fun album. It's
Yeah.
again more in the same vein as I'd say Fu Manchu, but
A bit more rock and
yeah,
roll, a bit more
yeah,
like like that's the sense that I got from it.
definitely. They have more of a classic rock kind of vibe going on. It's also very riff heavy. Fun to listen to. Some a touch of darkness here and there, but a lot of it is touching on themes of present day struggles, but more going looking at like the positive side of things, I guess. And yeah, it's also a good listen, especially for those who are looking for more of an kind of uplifting album.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, check it out. Orange Goblin, science, not fiction.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a fun album to listen to. I like their previous work. I'm not like a big fan of Orange Goblin. I'm not gonna say like I listen to them, I seek them out actively, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're fun to listen to. So I've been listening to a couple of things. I'll just go through them very quickly, and you can stop me and tell me if you've listened to any of this and if you want to chime in. But
I've listened to all of
so you did? Oh, okay, cool.
them. Yeah.
So yeah, so obviously, I've Ana Nahn dropped an album, and I've been
Mhm.
looking forward to that because I think Ana Nahn is, one of the more interesting and creative bands in the scene. And yeah, it's a dope album. I encourage everybody to go listen to it. Really good collaborations as well. There's some interesting collaborations on that album. Um, yeah, just great songs, very catchy, very interesting. You're not gonna hear another band that sounds like this in the local scene.
Mhm.
فيعني give them a shot. Listen to them.
Yeah,
Um,
and let's not forget the twin bass attack of
yeah,
Shadow
exactly.
and
Yeah,
Space.
yeah. If
Awesome.
you don't know, like, if you don't know, like the. And I'm addressing the listeners here. أنا نحن is basically a band and consists of two bassists. ما عندهم guitarist. It's an interesting dynamic and sound. Moving on, the Black Dahlia Murder are back, man. After their lead singer died, the guitarist of the band took over vocals, and they got like they've got like really amazing guitarists in this band now. One of them, I think his name is Brendan something. I don't know. I mean, I'm really bad with names, but anyways, like he's this amazing guitarist, plays amazing leads. Anyways, they dropped two singles. The first single was really good. This single is interesting. Like, if you're a big fan of the Black Dahlia Murder, it's gonna sound something interesting, and you feel like they're kind of trying to keep up with modern sounds and the modern times. which is fine. I mean, it sounds great. I mean, this band has been going at it. I don't know, I remember I've been listening to this band since I was in college, so it's like they have like I don't know how many albums right now, and they've been going at it for over what is it like 20 years now? Jeez, they've
Yeah,
been
more or
they've
less.
been around. Yeah, they've been around for a long time. So evolving their sound a little bit is not a bad thing. Um, are you into the Black Dahlia? Have you been listening to them, keeping up with them?
No, to be honest, I know some of their songs, but
Yeah.
I can't say that I'm really familiar with their music that much. But I'm impressed that they managed to just move on. You know.
Yeah. No,
So it's
absolutely,
fun.
and they're doing justice to the songs and the structure and the writing. Really amazing. If you're really into melodic death, you should check it out. Um, Bill Murray, this really interesting band. So Bill Murray, I don't know if you feel like, yeah, they're funny, right? Like if you've seen their videos and the album artwork, the music is amazing. It's They released a record recently that has like just banger after banger in this record. And if you don't know, I'm just very before I move on quickly from this album and this band, the lead singer and one of the guitarists in this band is the crab. Do you remember like the video clip from Attack Attack, like the band Attack Attack, the crab core, the famous crab core video?
Okay, I think so. Yeah, it's coming
Yeah.
back to me now.
Anyways, Attack Attack. They a million years ago released a video that became an infamous meme, like with the crab, and it became like a crab core kind of meme. Anyways, he was the guitarist in that band. Now he has this amazing project called Bill Murray. Um, really enjoy that stuff. Um, and then I've been like going down this rabbit hole of listening to like new school death metal bands, like death metal bands that are new that
Yeah,
sound like old school death metal.
yeah.
So Undeath released a new single called Brandish the Blade, or that's the album actually. I think the album is called Brandish the Blade. But anyways, it sounds amazing. I think this is the best work they've done so far. And then I've been going back and listening to this Canadian death metal band called Tomb Mold,
Oh
and
man,
not their newest album, the
yeah.
previous album called Planetary Clairvoyance. Amazing. Like I love that. Like I've been just going right down this rabbit hole of like listening to these like old school sounding death metal bands. um I really enjoy that record. It's really good.
It's good, man, and it's oddly accessible. I think, and like you most of the time, extreme metal bands tend to not be like very accessible. But I find the riffs very catchy, and it's cool. I
Yeah.
love that. I loved it.
Yeah. No, it's really really dope. Better Lovers, they're gonna release their album soon, and they just dropped a single from their new album. And honestly, it's like the best also work that they've done. They've released like an EP last year and like a singles, and it's Greg and like Mike. It's Greg and like members of Every Time I Die, and members of End, the guitarist from End. So it's like, it's every members of every band that I really love and enjoy. But I didn't really like the singles they released last year. But this is really good, and it feels like, there it's a move in the right direction. Um, and then just to wrap it up, just very quickly, I listened to for J. So this is, it's not metal at all, but like I've been listening. So JPEG Mafia like released a new record, and if you're into Death Grips and if you want to listen to something new and experimental and weird, just go check out this record. I lay down my life for you. It's super cool, like the production and the sounds and it's really interesting and experimental and fresh in a way that I didn't expect. So, and it made me just go down that rabbit hole of just listening to his other records as well. So, yeah, I think I'll just leave it at that. Um, but
I
yeah,
love the song "I Scream This in the Mirror" from JPEG Mafia. It's a good. I like because like it has like a cool has like cool guitar work in it and lots of basketball references. Apparently,
dude, this album has a lot of guitar. Like there are moments of this record where it's not like, I'm saying punk, but it's not really punk, right? It doesn't sound punk, but it's like he does vocals and he shouts and growls and like some of the guitar sounds, it sounds so um, lo-fi in a sense, or underproduced in a sense, that you get like this feel that this is kind of very raw and punk.
Yeah.
So I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. Um, but yeah, that's what we've been listening to. So all right. So just to, if you're one of the five returning listeners, I know that we, in the past, we used to go through records and like analyze them one by one, but we've decided to just do this casual thing where we talk about what we've been listening to. And then we're going to now talk about our highlights of the week. This is usually new releases from this week, stuff that just came out.
Mhm.
And we wanna kind of talk about them a little bit and share our thoughts with you. So, Mansour, why don't you go ahead here? I see that you've been listening to the new Opeth.
Yeah, the new Opeth track just dropped last week, and it's from the new album, The Last Will and Testament, which is, as it says here, going to be released on October the 11th. So, yeah, the new track, which I don't know how it's pronounced. I don't know. It's a symbol and the number one, some kind of symbol.
Yeah,
Um, but it's a great song. I've been listening to it nonstop. It's yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest Opeth fan in the world. I do appreciate their music, um, but I'm just like most fans who've listened to this. I'm really impressed because they brought back their death metal, style.
yeah,
Um,
that melodic death
they
metal, that classic melodic death metal sound.
yeah, they dropped the death metal thing a long time ago. It's been like apparently 16 years or something since they last released a death metal song. And they did this, and it sounds just great. It's like it caught me off guard when I heard it. I came in with like zero expectations, and they didn't even make any prior announcement. They didn't even hint that they're going back to their original sound. And it's great. And they also mix it with clean vocals. But even when and during the clean vocals part, it still sounds like very creepy and very spooky, and like because even Michael Ackerfeld, when he uses his clean vocals, usually it's like very like in beautiful parts. He sings very nice, like beautiful passages and things like that. But here he sounds like a ghost. Um, so this is like a really really awesome track. And honestly, if the rest of the album is this good, then we might be looking at one of the better albums of the year, maybe if not
Oh,
the best. Yeah,
wow, you liked it that. So I know for me, I'm just like you. Like I'm one of those people. Like when I talk to people and they ask me, you do you listen to Opeth? I'm like, لا يعني ما I don't listen. They're like, oh, كيف واو كيف ما تسمع Opeth. So Anna, for
yeah.
me, I was like I said, like you, I was never the biggest fan of Opeth, but I've always been interested to listen to their records. And every time I try to go and listen to one of their records, I would put one song or one record, and honestly, it just gets boring sometimes. Like because you know. I, I enjoy whatever. I enjoy long like songs and what. That's not the issue. The issue is just like it doesn't excite me. Like I just listen to the song, I put it in, and you just hear like a piano intro and madri eh, I'm like, ugh, this is kind of boring for me. But
Yeah.
um, but yeah, like you said, like I was listening to the single and it was pretty good. I liked it, and it made me want to go back and listen to the other records. So I popped Heritage first, and honestly, I still found that boring. But then I went to what is that? What is that one called? Backshed Waters? I think it's
uh,
called.
Blackwater Park or
No,
Watershed.
not Watershed. Sorry, yeah, yeah, I mixed the two names together. Watershed. Watershed to me is like it sounded really good, and I think I'm gonna dig deeper into that record. But I'm super excited about this one as well. I'm looking forward to it if it's gonna sound anything like this first single they released.
Yeah.
All right, so moving right along, my highlight of the week is none other than Nails, one of my
uh,
favorite bands of all time. I just love this band so much. They just cut the fat out, write like just heavy, aggressive, fast music. Uh, yeah, every record they've released is incredible. Um, from their full length releases. I don't know about like any of their demos or old stuff, but saying for me, like everything from Unsilent Death and going up is really good. Um, Interesting record though. Like the singles they've released so far. So the latest single they released is lacking the ability to process empathy. Um, in a sense, it's like but the same old nails that we're used to. This nice aggressive brand of grindcore, chainsaw tones, aggressive hardcore, grindcore kind of type of music. That's like I said, just trims the fat. 1 minute, 2 minutes maximum in length. You know, just the same old stuff. But this, it feels like they're trying to kind of push in a new direction. And especially if you listen to the song "Give Me the Painkiller," that this was released like not this week, like the weeks before, a couple of weeks before, which is interesting because it give me the painkiller, and immediately the first thing when you listen to the song and you hear that riffing, that guitar lead riffing comes up, it just reminds you of Judas Priest.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like they're pulling like from these different influences now, and just putting their own twist on it, like this grindcore, really aggressive, harsh guitar tones and harsh, aggressive music onto it, which I'm all for it. Like, they've had like, there's straight up grindcore stuff happening for the past years, for the past couple of albums now. If this album comes out, and I'm sure it's gonna still have that grindcore like sound, but if it comes out and there's like a couple of different kind of vibes and feels and the song and this album, I'm all for it. And I'm really excited for this album. It's coming out pretty soon, actually, the end of this month. So
Yeah. No, it's definitely a really cool song. I'm loving what I'm hearing from this album so far. And as you said, it feels like a change of pace in a way for them in terms of sound, and they're not repeating themselves. There's definitely like a thrashy vibe going with "Give Me the Painkiller." Yeah, I mean, I always felt like a band like Nails would always um, kind of have that, like they'll always use their sound. They'll never deviate from them. Only because I feel like that genre is very hard to deviate from. But apparently they found ways to experiment and try new things, and that's just awesome. I'm really looking forward to the new album.
yeah.
It's been a while
Yeah,
since they released
it's
it.
exactly. This is the point I was going to make. The last full length album they released, which is an incredible record, "You'll Never Be One of Us,"
Oh man,
was in
I love this.
2016.
I love this
Eh,
album so much.
This is I bought this album on EP, on a LP, on a record, like vinyl. I also have On Silent Death on vinyl as well. I need to get the band in all life, but yeah, this record is one of the best all time records. Um, they went back in the studio with Kurt Ballou again. They got back Kurt Ballou. Taylor Young, who used to be the drummer on this record, is no longer with the band. So it's, but whatever. Like the new songs they sound great, and they sound amazing, and I'm really looking forward to this new record by Nails. It's called Every Bridge Burning. Yeah, Every Bridge Burning. All right,
Awesome.
cool, man. And that's it for our music segment. Um, let's get into our topic of the day. Mansour, let me ask you,
Mhm.
what's your music streaming platform of choice?
It's Spotify, my friend.
Well, can I interest you in changing your Spotify? I'm changing your choice, changing into another platform.
I'm listening.
Why? Wait, why is this a sales pitch all of a sudden? Well, okay, listen. So I named this segment, right? I know it's here on our shared file, shared document, the live document. But I named this segment. I stopped using Spotify, and I think you should try to switch too. And again, this is why my approach here is that this is my own personal opinion. I'm not saying you know hey, if you love Spotify and you still want to, still use that platform, it's up to you. But just a couple of things happened that made me just say, "Khalas," it's I should just switch away from Spotify. So, and I'll be honest, I should have done that a while back. Like, I'm kind of ashamed that the this news is not the thing that made me want to switch, which is the fact that Spotify, also on all these music platforms, let's all just get this out of the way. All of them suck at paying royalties and suck at paying artists, right? So the kind of the royalty fees that they pay and the amount of streams that you have to get in order for you to get paid, and it just, like these like these back office kind of deals that they make with the record labels, and how much royalties and how much they should spend to compensate artists that get their music streamed. Like, it still needs to be kind of, this model needs to be figured out better, right? But Spotify, like, at some point decided, you know what, we're going to even pay less royalties. Like, it's already like the artists are being not compensated well enough on these streaming platforms, but they've decided to change up their model. um, did some a bunch of deals with record labels and record companies, and distributors and all of that. Um, did this thing as well where, if you have less than 1,000 streams, you're not going to get any kind of compensation at all. So if you're a small independent artist, you're even like worse for wear. And then they also like did this weird thing where they did a loophole where, and I don't completely understand it, but the gist of it is that because part of they have a bundle subscription where, like, but what bundled with it is like some kind of ebooks or whatever that you can stream on Spotify apparently. um, because of this bundle, you can pay less royalties to these record labels and record companies. So they're trying their best to line their pockets with these bonuses and with the amount, the money that they make from the subscription and the money that they make as a company and a corporation, pay out their shareholders and screw the artists, right? Like, they don't care about the artists anymore. Like, maybe they started off caring about the artists, but nothing they're doing seems like they care about the artists. So I'm ashamed that this is not the news that made me switch. What actually made me end up switching was this piece of news, which is the CEO Daniel Ek coming out and saying, "Oh, it costs zero money to make content." And listen, Anifa, and Arif, I know, I know what he's trying to say. I know the point that he was kind of trying to make, but it's just incredibly tone deaf and annoying. Just annoying, just purely annoying. When a multimillionaire, billionaire, or whatever, who is lining his pockets with these bonuses that he's making from his company, Spotify, and screwing the artists that are on his platform, especially the independent artists that are not part of these big major record labels and not as popular as the major artists, um, tells you that, oh, in this day and age, it doesn't cost you anything to make content, and you can do this and do that. It doesn't. It's just tone deaf, and it's incredibly annoying, and it just made me, what, I need to explore other options. Now, for me, I don't know about you, but for me, there's a couple things that I like about Spotify, right? I like the user interface. The interface is amazing. Like, it's very easy. Like, if you follow artists and you favorite them, it's easy to see, when they release a new album or when they release a new thing, or if they're touring somewhere. It's very easy to find that information on Spotify, and it just encourages you to get updated immediately on what's happening with the artists that you like and that you favorite. Also, the algorithm. As much as the algorithm now is designed in a way where it's trying to funnel popular artists toward you, and artists that you might not be interested in, but because of these dealings that they're making with these record labels, they have to kind of push their artists onto you, and like the independent artists get shafted. It still managed to turn me on to some bands and artists that I think without Spotify I wouldn't have not found out about them. Like, there's a couple of bands, they don't come to mind right now, but there's a bunch of bands that I just found out about through Spotify. But is that enough? No, because I'd rather like give my money to a company that, while all these other platforms maybe don't pay the artists as well, but at least they pay artists better. And they don't do these practices where they say, oh, if you have less than this amount of streams, that then you don't get paid any royalties. And the second thing, to companies that pay attention to you and listen to you. So that's why I switched to Apple Music. Um, and one of the benefits of switching to Apple Music as well is that you're not paying Spotify, and you're getting extremely good quality, dude. I started listening to go back to listening to some of the older records that I like and enjoy listening to, and I mean, I know I'm being maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but honestly, they sounded a bit different and higher quality and better because of the lossless quality that I was able to listen to on Apple Music.
Mm.
And yeah, again, at the same time, you know, it feels like Apple Music. Well, you know, other than that, other than unfortunately, the algorithm in Apple Music is not as good. Like so far, maybe it's still building the profile for me. You know, it's trying to figure out what I like and what I don't like, and then it'll make recommendation well. But it still needs to catch up with how Spotify is good at like just letting you know when like I didn't know that like if I was just looking at Apple Music, I wouldn't have not known that Nails released a new EP. Sorry, a new single. It's the only reason why I found out is because I follow them on Instagram and they announced it. Right?
Yeah.
It's not like you go on the homepage on your homepage in Apple Music. I didn't see anything about new release from Nails.
Yeah.
And to put my last point here is that I feel like Spotify as well doesn't really support the metal community that well here in the region, and I'll use the editorial playlists as an example. So I don't know what the hell is Arab metal. Okay, like this is a different problem that I have with this the naming of this play. But in any case, they apparently have this playlist here, and they called it Arab metal, and it's supposed to be the collection of the best Arab metal. Okay, the
Yeah.
songs on this list. Look at when was the last time when they were added? 2021.
Oh.
And these singles, like this is the last time it's been updated. While if you look at the Anghami, and although I'm not using Anghami because unfortunately Anghami I feel like needs a lot of work when it comes to like this heavy hardcore and alternative stuff, but at least the editorial playlist that they have is updated, and
Yeah.
it has new songs that came out.
Okay.
And that's why I ended up switching. I'm much happier for it. I think the sound quality alone is a good enough reason for me. Honestly, like I want to when I listen to music, I really want to enjoy it at the highest quality and enjoy myself listening to it. And I don't want to put online the pockets of a CEO that in a company that doesn't really give a damn about artists.
Or seen. But I mean, okay. I agree with you pretty much on all things. I mean, I have yet to explore other streaming services because I used to listen to Deezer a long time ago,
Mm.
um, and that was cool. But the connection would always there was always issues with lagging and stuff like that. I don't think they had the best setup back then. So I switched to Spotify when it came to the market here.
Why did you have
Um,
Deezer? Do you remember?
because Spotify wasn't working here, so
Ah, yeah.
I just I started using Deezer, which was
Yeah.
decent enough, but it wasn't I don't know. I haven't checked it. I haven't used Deezer in a long time, so don't take my word for this. Back then, it wasn't that exciting. That there wasn't like the sophisticated algorithms that we have today all around. Um, but yeah, going back to Spotify, kind of on the fence about it. But you hear a lot of musicians, big time, big names, that complain about it, that complain about Spotify, and I kind of disagree with the CEO Daniel Ek here. He's saying it costs zero to create content. Um, First of all, yeah, I mean, to us, music isn't just content, which there's some kind of sentimental value. I feel like the word content is something that's just disposable, like fast food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but I think for the most part, I think it does cost to make music and content, even if you're talking about podcasts, because the amount of time you spend and effort and energy that you as an artist or a podcaster spend on your craft, that's a cost on you. And I don't think it's fair to say that it costs nothing. Of course, if you're using AI to generate, you know, crappy music or whatever, maybe there's not much effort put into it. Like, but I'm pretty sure 99% of the music that's out there is all human generated, good or bad. Because even like for bands, obviously they have to rent studios, and they hire producers and all of that. Some bands do it in a more cost effective way. Of course, some bands maybe have their own home studios, some artists do that, but that doesn't mean that it's costing them nothing to create music. Podcasters as well, they again, there's a lot of time and effort that's placed on creating an episode for a podcast. I'm talking about the production, the research, and so on. Most of the time, at least. I mean,
I mean, even if you're
and
doing it in your house and like in home or whatever, if you're self-producing, you still have to buy the equipment. These microphones, you have to buy microphones, you have to buy the interfaces, you have to. It's still a
exactly,
considerable investment, so it's a really dumb thing to say.
absolutely, and I find it a bit surprising. And even artists are talking about it. Like the musician Carmen Apice, who's a veteran, legendary drummer, he's saying, "I'll never ever play a song on Spotify. Quote, if I want a song, I'll buy it on iTunes." And he's like, that's the way to do it, because that keeps the musician alive and making money and working. So maybe he's an old time veteran of the scene, and he's maybe more old school, but I mean, I think he's talking about it more from the business sense.
Yeah.
um, but to me, Spotify, as a user, sorry, I like the some of the playlists, the communal aspect of it. um, I
What's the
think it
communal aspect?
encourages, like, checking out your friends, what they're listening to at the
Ah,
moment, and all of that stuff.
well, I don't
That
have
that's
friends on
cool,
Spotify.
but I find, you're saying how the algorithms are becoming better, but I still feel like it's lacking, because I feel like it boxes you into a genre and not necessarily like world of music out there that isn't mainstream that you might enjoy. You know what I mean? Um, but that will take time, I guess.
Yeah.
Even here, as you can see here, Trent Reznor saying music streaming music services have, quote, mortally wounded a whole tier of artists. So this is coming from Trent Reznor
Yeah.
from Nine Inch Nails.
I'm
Um,
uh, I'm gonna
but you
share
can't
something
escape it.
here. Sorry.
I mean, you can't escape streaming. It's the thing. Nobody.
Oh no,
I
I'm not.
don't.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't stream. Like I know, like
Yeah.
that guy, like the drummer that you were talking about, like he's a bit too old school about it, right? Like I don't. The only time I'll buy like something, an item, music is when I'm buying like records, right? Like I'm collecting vinyls because
Yeah.
I'm really into the artwork. I'm into the collecting the vinyls and looking at the artwork and the sleeves and just having like my favorite albums in this form. But I don't know if I'll ever go into iTunes and buy like singles or albums digitally.
Mhm.
Um, This is one of the things I really enjoy about streaming: the ability to like stream and listen to and discover music as much as possible. It's
Yeah.
it's the way things are right now, and I don't think that will change anytime soon, right?
Yeah.
Just to make a point about the algorithm, right, on Spotify. So, friend of the show, uh, uh, and our buddy Ace,
Mhm.
uh, recently shared this video uh, on WhatsApp with me. So in a group that we're in. So, but anyways, check this out, right? So this guy obviously listens to metal. I mean, if you look at all the his previous listens, he was listening to the Black Dahlia Murder. As you
Hmm.
can see here, I don't know, like a bunch of weird music that he's into. But then look at the what it's suggesting to him as popular artists that he should be listening to, right? Like Sabrina Carpenter, Lana Del Rey. What else here? Like it's telling him to go listen to Taylor Swift, Rashid Al
That's
Majid,
been much.
Eminem, Kendrick Lamar. You know, it's again, it's this thing where the algorithm is trying to funnel and push the popular, the artists that are backed and did the dealings with Spotify in order to make sure that they get the payout, and then the independent artists get shafted in the process. You know, but again, that's just my opinion, and I really enjoy using Apple Music right now, especially like I mentioned earlier because of the quality of the sound. It honestly made a lot of difference for me. I was listening to like some of the older Converge records, and they just sounded incredible on Apple Music. And then I was listening to Led Zeppelin as well. I went to and started listening to their first record. I mean it's remastered, but
Yeah.
because of the lossless quality and the high quality, I was able to really enjoy it, and it sounded great on that platform. So um, you should try, dear listener. If
Definitely
Mansour is
will.
not convinced, I mean, just try to explore other options other than Spotify. Do the artists support your artists.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
if you support artists and if you're into like music and stuff like that, at the end of the day, yes, we're not gonna get paid out. It's not like we're gonna make any more money from these streaming platforms or whatever. And at the end of the day, Apple is also another corporation, and Tidal is another corporation. And all these people are end of the day are companies, and they want to make money at the end of the day. But like, why give money to a guy that literally says and does things, and a company that has policies that literally undermines artists? That's just my point here. Anyways,
Um, just on a related note, these are some of the bands who rock and like metal bands who have one songs that have 1 billion plus streams on Spotify.
okay. Oh,
Black Sabbath,
nice.
Linkin
Of course.
Park,
Yeah, of course.
Evanescence, Guns N'
Evanescence.
Roses, you know, Aerosmith, Bon Jovi, Metallica, System of a Down, Nirvana, Queen,
Wait,
ACDC,
wait. How many streams
1 billion plus. Like
in total?
that, yeah, yeah. I mean, like a song that has 1 billion plus, like one
Oh,
or
they
two
have a
songs.
System of a Down has a song that has 1 billion plus streams.
Chop Suey, yeah.
Oh my god,
Uh,
that's interesting.
I never heard of any of these artists personally, but apparently 1 billion plus people love them.
Apparently,
Who's Nirvana?
who's Nirvana? Never heard of him.
But
Wait,
yeah, I mean,
the drummer in the band looks like a singer of Foo Fighters. That's the joke that they was saying.
even Papa Roach, that song "Last Resort" has
Last
like.
resort, man.
So I feel like these are the bands who are benefiting from like Spotify, the billion plus listens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And those are the bands that were successful in like the pre MP3 era, maybe, or maybe just at the beginning of that
At
sort
the
of
cusp. At the
at
cusp,
the
right
cusp,
there. Yeah,
just at that stage and before. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh well. All right.
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Switch away from Spotify. Anyways, that's. I think that's a wrap, Mansour. It's short, sweet. And it's just nice to be back and doing this again. And hopefully, we'll try to be consistent and come every week. Like Mansour said as well on the top of the episode, that we'll try to also bring guests. And as always, we'll try to also bring engaging topics, and we'll try to be out more active as well on Instagram. We should start asking people their thoughts, and maybe to submit questions on like Instagram stories and stuff like that, and then we can talk about it, here. Maybe have a segment. I don't know, just some ideas. Talking out loud
Yep.
here. All right, Mansour. Any last thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, it's good to be back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
All right. See you next week.